It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Good morning, everyone. This is Gary K, and I'm kind of filling in for Steph. I'm going to have to do the show by myself today. Steph is actually at the SAVE conference, Sustainable AV Conference in California. She's going to be a part of that and report on it next week on rAVe TV. A lot going on with sustainability in AV. You know, that whole subject's kind of interesting to me because it kind of comes and goes, right? I mean, 20 years ago, we were talking about how to be more eco-friendly with packaging and how to do a better job for the environment. And it became a hot topic. A lot of the brands changed their packaging. Then it kind of disappeared for 10 years. And then Christy assigned a sustainability expert to their organization to look at how to make their organization more environmentally friendly, not just inside their own organization, but also even the suppliers that are supplying gear to them, the raw components. And then it kind of made a comeback thanks to what Christy Digital was doing there. And then it kind of died down again, but it's kind of back. I mean, SAVE is a great initiative for our industry. It's SAVE.org. And if you want to get involved, I mean, it's something that, and a lot of brands are talking about that now. If you go to Sony, Samsung, LG, big brands like Epson, they've got web pages dedicated to the process they're going through to make their company more, environmentally friendly in general. But yeah, as you know, this is rAVe TV, our weekly Wednesday morning TV show, come to you live from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. This is Gary K. I'm your host. My co-host Steph is, as I said, in California. So you have me. We're coming to you live all around the world right now on rAVe Pubs, on LinkedIn, on I think even Twitter or X. So we, lots of ways to pick it up, and of course on our own website as well. And we restream this in real time at noon. So if you miss it, you can always go to our website and go to ravepubs.com and then click the rAVe TV link, and you can see all the episodes there. You can always go to our YouTube, which is another place we stream it live too. If you go to youtube.com/ravepubs, all the past episodes are there. And I don't know what number we're on. Maybe Emily will send me a little code in here and let me know. But I think we are on she did 234. This is episode 234. It's pretty amazing. We've done 234 of these. That means for the last 234 weeks, we've been doing rAVe TV. That's pretty amazing. Don't really have anything to report as far as, Steph and I like to start the show talking about movies. I haven't seen any movies since last week. We had a long discussion about that. Been working hard and not really had much time for entertainment. I just started a new TV show called Task on HBO, which I really highly recommend, with Mark Ruffalo. I really like Mark Ruffalo, though. He's sort of polarizing. People either like him or don't. But I would like to recommend one show that, if you have not seen it, it won a tremendous number of Emmys last Sunday, and it's worth watching. It's from Apple TV. So you have to have an Apple TV Plus subscription, and it's called The Studio. Seth Rogen actually produces it, writes it, and actually stars in it. He does a phenomenal job. Generally, I don't like Seth Rogen that much, which I'm sure will be controversial. But in this role, he's perfect. And basically, it's sort of like mimics what's going on in Hollywood today, which is, chaos, really chaos. New technology creating chaos, the cost of making movies in California creating chaos, but also the perfection that some people go through to make a movie. But episode 2 is quite interesting, and that's why I want to talk about it. It is magical because it is 30 minutes of straight one-camera shoot. And it's not like shot in one place. It's shot all over the place, which is kind of cool. And they never turn the camera off. And to time the actors and actresses that way to get them to do what they need to do for that episode. And it's hilarious. And it bookends really well. It's called The Oneer, which is what a one camera shoot is known as in Hollywood. And the irony is the episode is about getting a one shot or a oneer inside of the movie that this fake studio that the show's based on is making. So if you want to be entertained and watch something really good, and even if you don't watch the whole series, if you just go there and go to the studio and watch episode 2, that episode I'm talking about, you'll be hooked on the show. But if even if you don't want to watch the whole show, you can just watch that one episode. So I want to put in a plug for Launch Week 12, because although it's a month away, it's going to be pretty amazing, and I don't want you to forget to register. And if you already have a Launch account, this is real easy for you. Just go to launch.com, LAVNCH.com. Click on the Launch Week 12 link. Of course, you can click on the link anywhere you're seeing this on socials. That's being put in the social platforms here any moment. But it's October 28th through the 30th. Each day will earn you 3 CTS, CTSI, and CTSD RUs. And I want to talk about a session today. I want to kind of highlight a session that we're doing called Designing QSR Signage That Works, which is an experiential signage. It's on Experiential Signage Day. It'll be at 2 p.m. And it's all about digital signage in the quick service restaurants, and kind of what it takes to do that in the for menu boards. And you might think this is relegated to only big integrators that do giant projects for companies like McDonald's and Chipotle. McDonald's is fast food, actually, so quick service would be more like Chipotle. And it's not, because you have a lot of bars and restaurants and local doctors and dentist offices and places like that, where you use signage, right? And of course, you're going to even do menu board signage in places like local restaurants and bars. So there's an opportunity for you to learn a little bit, and of course, college campuses. So I would love for you to sign up for Launch Week 12. That's just highlighting one of the sessions. I'll be doing a session on Ed Tech Day, all about the latest technology in classrooms. That's part of Launch Week 12. I'm excited about it. Again, it's October 28th through 30th. I hope you'll join me. And in the meantime, I want to thank our sponsor, Crestron. And I want you to check out this really quick piece on the Flex Pods. Okay, if you haven't seen the new Flex Pods that debuted at InfoComm, here they are. All right, some quick news stories. First off, Diversified hired an executive from Disney, Zach Toback, to lead the hospitality and lifestyle market. And I think this is quite interesting. And, I mean, it's just a person starting to work for a company, you might think. But what I want to point out, the reason why I want to focus on this today is specifically because Diversified has taken a clear stake in the hospitality and lifestyle market. That's as close as you can get to the high-end residential market, but also hospitality is another market that is picked back up, and it has taken a while for that to really ramp up since the pandemic. This past summer was a record year for concerts, and so we're also seeing hotels with picking back up to pre-pandemic levels, and even some cases higher. So the hospitality market is really booming, and I think this shows a dedication. I think you'll see this emulated by a lot of other companies out there. In other news, Sony is actually doing something quite cool. They are now gonna sort of like make the Verona video walls, which are their crystal LED virtual production products, available for rental companies. And they've added tools specifically for virtual production and made it where the rental companies don't even have to buy them. They can kind of rent them and then re-rent them. So there's all this opportunities in virtual production. I think that's going to continue to grow, and you can check out that story at rAVe Pubs. .com. So, all the stories we're talking about today, you can always check out. All right. There's a Looking Glass has unveiled a hololuminescence display, and there's a few of them out there, which basically makes it where it looks like you're looking at a person that looks like they're standing inside of a box. It's another way of doing signage and concierge features and things like that is attention grabbing. Theirs is 3D like all of them. It's an all-in-one. It has a CMS. It's the display and the video infrastructure to get it there. The example that they gave us in the article was specifically for transportation, but there's all sorts of applications for something like this. I mean, we've even seen these kinds of products being used in applications like the HoloPod, where somebody is actually doing a keynote remotely. This technology is right down the alley of the kind of things that we do that is quite unique. Very niche, however, as you very well know. I also want to tell you about iPro, which you may know iPro from Panasonic. Actually, Panasonic's entire camera division was sold to a company called iPro. iPro introduced ActiveGuard version 3. They've added generative AI to it. And this is a product that is used. This would be a product that would be used for security. So, for example, if you have a multi-dwelling residential opportunity and you're selling into that, and they want CCTV/security in there, you can set up AI parameters. Like it not only can you say, anytime someone that walks by a camera with a red shirt, I want you to make sure you record it and we know that that's happening, but it can also make decisions on its own and figure out when things are suspicious and start recording and notifying you that things are suspicious. So that's kind of interesting. And that's, that if for those of you who, we've intentionally focused on the security market recently with a partnership with ADI. As you know, we have a rAVe security newsletter, in fact, that covers both cybersecurity and physical security. This is right up the alley of that, and I hope that you'll check it out for those of you who are in that segment of the market. All right, another one of our sponsors is Shure, and of course, I'm using a Shure mic right now, and that's why I sound so daggone good. But also, I want to show you a quick piece, really quick piece on Shure's intimate relationship with Microsoft. And this is great timing because I'm going to bring Dave Danto on as soon as we come back. And who knows more about Microsoft than him? I don't think hardly anyone. He's done a phenomenal job following what they're doing in the UC space. So let me have you watch this piece, and I'm going to prepare Dave, and we'll come back on together.
Strong partnerships create exceptional experiences. Shure's flexible solutions provide extraordinary audio for all kinds of Microsoft Teams rooms, empowering everyone to be seen, heard, and recognized with quality audio that enhances AI tools, making it easy to know who is talking in a meeting. The standards of meetings have greatly evolved, which is why pairing clear and precise audio with a strong AI productivity tool like Microsoft 365 Copilot helps to accurately capture meeting content, generate summaries, plan next steps, and clear reports. But the very first step to getting it right is crystal clear audio, no matter the circumstances. Shure's innovation and world-class engineering continually adapts and anticipates customer needs in acoustically challenging spaces. Shure microphone array and DSP technology ignores non-speech sounds and even eliminates extraneous speech outside of the target area, enhancing the hybrid experience, delivering a better overall meeting experience and assisting with transcription accuracy. Shure solutions are expertly designed to provide effortless experiences with significantly reduced setup time and are supported by software monitoring, licensing, and provisioning. Shure delivers a complete ecosystem that brings certified quality devices to Microsoft Teams Rooms collaboration spaces. High-quality conferencing creates seamless and immersive meetings, keeping participants motivated and enhancing productivity for better decision-making and meaningful work. Shure and Microsoft provide innovative solutions for today's conferencing requirements. True understanding starts with extraordinary communication. Shure, sound extraordinary.
All right, everyone. It's the famous Dave Danto. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me. Always a pleasure to be with you.
It's always interesting because the two of us have the busiest background on the planet. Like basically, if you're watching the two of us right now, you can't get a noisier, more distracting background than what the both of us have. So you're watching something that's probably driving you crazy if you've got sensory deprivation issues, that's for sure. And we apologize. But I actually I'm gonna ask you about in-depth in just a second from Microsoft. But I want to first bring you on to talk to you about your latest article about what you call the invisible wow behind the television screen. Hey Dave, what do you think? You write this article, talking about, kind of give us a synopsis for those that haven't had a chance to read it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting the impetus behind me writing this one. I'll show you a still that I know you and I were both involved in when we were at Infocom. I think this one was 2015. That was the only year that was there. But do you remember the big wow? If you could show that that we were all taking pictures behind it and smiling through the wow. And I always thought that, honestly, I thought that kind of steered us in the wrong direction. It kind of told everybody in the industry, you're just really special. Keep doing what you're doing, which was probably the worst advice we could give. And now 10 years later, a lot of those companies that thought they were special are selling for pennies on the dollar to the big companies that are growing. So, at the time we were talking about the wow, we were talking about, look at the amazing pictures we can make, and look at the fabulous sound, and look at this. And it dawned on me that that's really not it. I go to my living room in my house, and my wife is sitting there watching TV, but she's got a game on her phone, and she's got something else going on, and we all watch content that way. I'm sure the people that are watching this aren't staring at the screen with bated breath. They're probably doing email. They're probably doing other things. So the wow is no longer the technology. It's no longer the device. The wow is the experience that we can bring to this. Bring it all together. What is the audio and the video and the second screen and the interactivity and the planning that brings it together? I just got back from the Sphere in Las Vegas, the first couple of days that they were doing The Wizard of Oz. I think I saw it on the fourth day. And it's better than the Postcards movie that they had, but it's still not, it's not enough to blow smoke in my face and say, wow, look, there was smoke. It's got to work out. The big applause comes during the tornado, where they've actually combined all the sensory pieces to make people think they're in a tornado, including when the house falls and the seats go bump. So that's what we need to be working on. We need to be working on what the XTG group is doing on with AVI-SPL, and so what's the person's experience as they're walking in. It's not just is the micro LED small enough, and are the pixels great, and are they bright enough? We need to be thinking about creating content across the board, even for people that are getting it on their phone. So that's kind of what the article is about. I go over some key points with you, but that was the impetus behind it, that we all really kind of need to look at this differently.
Yeah, well, I think you did a great job as a synopsis. I would argue that all that wow stuff is at Infocom, as a show like Infocom. I think what you're saying is we now need to do a better job putting it all together, and not just when a customer calls and says we need to upgrade our projector, not just giving them the latest projector, but mention all the other new things that have come out since then, and make the install more immersive rather than just replacing the old projector with a new projector. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, 15 years ago, or roughly 14 years ago, when I was working for an integrator, I used to tell all the salespeople that if somebody called asking to buy 2 flat panels, the answer should be no, I'm not selling those to you. Why do you need them? Because was it for an RF distribution system, or was it for digital signage, or was it for a conference room? Because if you sell them what they're asking for, and they're only asking for a faster horse, people are going to be disappointed. So we do need to look at that experience. We need to look at how our job evolves from people who understand how to connect things to people who understand how to create experiences. And I don't think that's a transition that most in the industry have made yet. Some have. But that's what I was kind of pointing out. Watching and listening isn't enough. I mean, if you're going to see a concert, listening is enough. Watching the background is enough. But the rest of it, what's the person's experience walking into the conference room? What's the person's experience while they're waiting in line to ride the ride? Not everybody gets that.
I do think about that often when I go to Disney, as an example, about how, when I'm standing in line to ride a ride, about how they're telling a story while I'm standing in line and making it interesting, versus when I go to Universal or even here locally Carowinds, it's basically pipe, and you're holding on to pipe as you go through a line. You're not really getting any kind of experience out of it.
Exactly.
And
You can make the wait be the experience along with the ride.
Yeah.
In very creative ways. Disney's one of the best that does it. And as you point out, some of the other ones. I remember when MGM opened, they used to have a theme park behind it in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I remember that
too. Worst experience of waiting. So again, you have to have skills and understanding what are people's experiences. It comes down to phones as well. We're talking about AI agents on telephone lines. That was a very popular thing that people in the CX and the UCaaS space. And you know what? I don't want to wait online for a minute and then have to talk to a robot where the robot hasn't even been taught what checkout means at a hotel.
Yeah.
It's what is my experience of that? And it's not enough that you've been able to get rid of people or use less operators. Am I going to want to call back? Am I going to want to go to you, or am I going to go to a competitor? That's the thing that we really need to be looking at. As we're AV experts, AV's there. It's a given. It's table stakes. Now, how do we get the experience for boaters and for healthcare and for patient care and for amusement parks? And how we have to learn that and be able to talk fluently about it.
Yeah, and I agree with you on this, and I think that basically, if an integrator will look at themselves as a technical, or maybe even in your case, experiential consultant, or stop worrying about the product so much and worry about creating, solving the problem that they have, and then making it fun to solve, and experiential, using your word, then we have it. I think that putting all the stuff together and not just piecemealing it. And I think some integrators are. I mean, obviously you mentioned AVI, SPL, and XTG and what they're doing specifically there. CTI, with the fact that they have both an integration group and a broadcast group, and they've combined the two together to do some really cool things. I think digital signage is a good indicator. Like those brands, those companies that have gone into digital signage have just naturally become more experiential than those that have focused mostly on classrooms and boardrooms and meeting rooms. I think that sort of digital signage is sort of eye-opening that way, because you have to think about, okay, someone's going to walk by this. How do I grab their attention? It's not just the fact that you're replacing a paper sign.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is the people and the organizations that have made this transition well realize that everyone is a content creator. Just because AV isn't broadcast doesn't mean it's not a content creator. You're going to walk into one of those rooms with one of those cameras. You may be live on CNBC. I take out my phone, and I take a picture and I put it up and it becomes my webcast next week. So content's coming from everywhere. How do we support that content to make it be really good experiences? Yeah.
And that friction that exists, we have to remove. So I want to switch gears and ask you about MDEP, because there's a lot of stuff coming over the next week. I think it's kind of underhyped. And this is an opportunity for you to kind of talk about the impact of that, because it's interesting. If you go back 3 years ago, Zoom was dominating, and Teams was sort of like, hey, we got an idea here. They really did innovate in a unique way and sort of captured the attention of the integration community, such that our industry only pushes Teams. They rarely push Zoom installs. So tell me about it. Go ahead.
No, that's a corollary. That's an interesting point. I'm one of the contrarians about Zoom. Zoom is making money hand over fist. Their stock market, their stock is doing great. They've become an AI company, but I'm of the opinion that that's their second wife, and they've kind of left their first wife behind. You could have become an AI company and brought along your collaboration crew, and most of them feel very dissed. So you're right, they are losing market share to Microsoft, and you can argue which is a better or worse product. I've got a couple of articles out there that say that, but it's not enough to be the best product. You also have to be the best person talking about it, not dissing your customers. So agreed.
So but MDEP is had a big impact since it was launched. Was it earlier this year or late last year? Talk about, first off, for those that don't know what it is, tell them what it is, and then talk about what's going to happen here over the next week.
Yeah, well, I can't say what's going to happen, but I can say keep an eye on it.
Hint at it. Yeah.
But the MDEP is short for the Microsoft Device Ecosystem Platform, and it is Microsoft's attempt to take what was a Wild West situation with Android AOSP, where some people did different things than others, and it was hard to get updates done, and now unify it so that almost all of the traditional unified communications manufacturers and a whole bunch of other ancillary manufacturers are now using that platform for Microsoft and not innovating on the platform, they're innovating around the platform.
Yeah.
As I said, most companies have gone on board. There are 4 main companies that have not adopted MDEP at this point, and they're the ones that came out earliest with their own version of Android. So they were the market leaders at the time. What I can say based on information that I've seen off the record and under NDA is over the next 7 days, we're going to see a couple of really exciting announcements that are going to kind of change the way things are going. So I can't say more about it than that, but if it's something you care about around collaboration and Microsoft Teams, I would definitely keep an eye on the news over the next 7 days.
Yeah. So come back to rAVe Pubs. You can see that article we just talked about that Dave wrote. Also the Invisible Wow. You can go to ravepubs.com. It's actually featured as the top blog on our site, and it's also trending as the #1 or #2 story on our website right now. So congratulations, Dave. And of course, Dave is a regular contributor, so you can check out all the stuff when you click on his name under the byline of any of the articles. You can see all the stuff he's written for us. Dave, I really appreciate you coming on here. Maybe we could have you back in a few weeks to talk about the MDEP announcements, and certainly we need to have you on before ISE, because I'd love to get your top 10 booths that you got to go to at ISE. So maybe we'll plan on that as well if you have some time to give us.
I'd love to do that. And as always, if anybody wants to reach out to me for any reason, you can just Google my name on there. I'm with Talking Points as an analyst and consultant. Love to chat with people. Anything I can do to help.
Yeah, just find David, DANTO, and you can go to LinkedIn anytime and see him there. Dave, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Have a great day, guys.
Yeah, and we have a few quick stories to go over. ADI distribution, global distribution, ADI, the distribution company I just talked about earlier about security. They have a new Charlotte headquarters. Remember, they bought SnapAV, moved SnapAV into a new, or Snap One, I should say, into a new building and made that their Charlotte headquarters. It's their North Carolina hub. And they not only stock product there, but they're also distributing out of that location. Just yesterday, Sharp announced the rebranding of all of their multi-sync portfolio. The E series and the AE series launched a bunch of new products in that portfolio for desktop and large format, so for signage as well. All have USB-C. All of them can charge. All the regular stuff you want on monitors are all there. It's all on our website. Check it out. And then a couple other quick stories, and I want to wrap up with another reason to join us for Launch Week 12. Extron, earlier late last week, after our broadcast last week, introduced new DisplayPort fiber optic extenders specifically for their Fox 3 line of products. There are 2 different versions there. There's the Fox 3 T11, T211, and SR 211. They are for long haul transmission of DisplayPort, and of course audio control, IR, and even 3D sync signals over fiber optic. 4K 60, 444 resolution over a single fiber. So they got EDID, all the stuff that you need to have there. And then finally, there's a couple other quick stories. Vadio launched version 9.1 and that adds a bunch of AI features for those of you using Vadio AI cameras. And then finally, last story of the week is kind of highlighting a blog that Mark Coxon wrote that I definitely want you to check out. It's why AV programming sometimes falls short. We all know about this. We all know the complication in and around programming control systems and, kind of where everything has moved. And this is a great piece. I think you need to read it. It's from earlier this month from Mark Coxon, but I noticed that it's trending on our website again, so I thought I'd mention it. And then finally, Launch Week 12, one last plug, October 28th through the 30th. 3 CTSs each day. That's 9 CTSs total. It's a 3-day event. You go ahead and sign up for it. You can join at any moment in time. We will track your attendance and submit the CTSs for you. And you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can just watch the sessions that you want. Go to launch.com, LAVNCH.com. Thanks for joining me today, everyone. Have a great day.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary.